What's happening, man? I'm Onlyzhay if you don't know. If you do know, what up, though? Listen, man, today on Think About That Tuesday, you know what I mean, where we just sprinkle a little thinklets into the minds of the people who watch this, you feel me? We're just gonna dive into a little deeper today into, like, you know what I mean? Just something to think about. That's what Think About That Tuesday is. Think About That Tuesday is to make you think. Don't just take my word for it. Don't just take the videos that we see and the information that we just hear people say on YouTube, like stuff like that, in terms of don't taking just what you see. Look for yourself. Do your Googles, B. Do your research. Hit a library if you need to. You know what I mean? Do your own thinking. Come to your own conclusions within this. Seek the truth for yourself. You feel me? I'm looking really something-ish right now with this lock thing. Let me fix this real quick. I don't like how it's looking like I do something else. Like I don't wear no socks and stuff. But yeah, a lot of times people hear things, we just run with it. We hear things, we just run with it. We don't question nothing. We don't question anything. Nobody questions why something is the way it is. Nobody can tell you the origin of anything. We don't never seek the truth for ourselves. Somebody tell you the microwave bad. You know what I mean? You don't look up the reasons why. Somebody tell you about 5G, you be like, well, I'm gonna get this new iPhone. I ain't worried about what nobody else say. I don't know what they talking about. It ain't gonna happen to me, whatever it is. We don't look at things. So that's what Think About That Tuesday is. So let's look at the name of the Messiah, Yahushua. People say Yeshua. I don't understand how you get Yeshua when, you know, Most High, his name is Yah. His only son. Wouldn't you think he would be Yahshua instead of Yeshua? If you think otherwise, do your own research. Don't just take my word for it. But we have to watch this video, you feel me? And we finna see, you know what I mean, what these people have to say and just get our thinklet on. So with that being said, I'm playing the video in 3, 2, 1.
Name in Hebrew was... What was Jesus' real name? Jesus' name in Hebrew was Yeshua. So how did we get the name Jesus? And is Christ actually a last name? Perhaps the most well-known name in the entire world, Jesus Christ, is the...
And once again, before the video starts, we're going to see a lot of pictures and everything. Just know that the people in the Bible who have these books and everything, and people mentioned in the Bible, they wasn't white. All right,
name of the Messiah of the Christian faith. And that name has become pretty widespread, regardless of your personal beliefs. But there's something unusual about the name Jesus, since in the original copies of the Bible, his Hebrew name is actually written as Yeshua, which more closely aligns to the English name Joshua.
Now you see how that's written? Screenshot that if you need to, and then look up how his name was written in Hebrew. Now this is the newer Hebrew. This isn't Paleo Hebrew. Paleo Hebrew is very primitive. It might have been the first language on earth, but I don't know. I need to look that up myself, but it was like pictures instead of words. You feel me? Or pictures instead. Like this is kind of like pictures, but it's like kind of like pictures in a lettery kind of way. Like the other one is just straight up pictures. Like, guess what that word means? Or guess what? It's like charades, bruh. Like for real. Paleo Hebrew. Wow. Paleo Hebrew was basically like spades, bruh. Like charades. I said spades. Anyway.
So where did this translation come from? Well, this is a relatively compact history that has to do with things altering as some words became lost in translation. So let's start off with our first question, which is, what language was the New Testament originally written in? Well, it wasn't...
You heard what she said? Some of these words and things was lost in translation. That's how things end up being how they are to where they are today. You'll know. Look up, if you have any kind of question or wondering about what I just said, look up the people's names, the books of the Bible, type in their names in Hebrew. So for example, just type in Jeremiah in Hebrew, or Nehemiah in Hebrew, or Obadiah in Hebrew, or Esther in Hebrew, or what is the book of Genesis name in Hebrew? And you'll see totally different translations than what you've ever saw or thought. And you'll understand it when you pronounce it and then look at it.
Written in English or Hebrew, but rather Greek. But notice how my question centered on the New Testament and not the whole Bible. That's because the Old Testament, or the books of the first half of the Bible, were written originally in Hebrew and Aramaic, but the latter half of the Bible, or New Testament, was written in Greek. So this leads us to our next question. How did Yeshua become translated to Jesus? In the text, a Greek-English lexicon compiled in the 19th century by Henry George Liddell, Robert Scott, and others, Yeshua was translated into ancient Greek as Jesus. And that's because the original authors of the New Testament were trying to convert the sound of the Hebrew name into Greek letters.
If you look up what Jesus means in Greek, you'll find out something completely different than what she just said. Jesus wasn't somebody trying to say Yahushua in Greek. If your name is Chelsea and you go to somewhere where they speak Spanish, but you came from English, you go somewhere where they speak Espanol, they're not going to start calling you Chupacabra. You feel me? Or if you go to somewhere where they speak French in Africa, they're not going to start calling you Chelsendela. Like Nelson Mandela. Like, they're not gonna do that. Like, your name is gonna be just a variation of your name in that way. Like, my name, like if somebody's name was Xavier and they go to somewhere where they speak Espanol, it would just be Javier. You feel me? Or Javier. You know what I mean? How they pronounce it. Like, you know what I mean? It wouldn't be so different. You feel me? Like,
but since they didn't have the letters or spelling to represent the sh sound in their language, they substituted an S sound in the middle, and that led them to Jesus. But even though there were other men with the first name Yeshua in the Bible in the Old Testament, and also men with the same name who were contemporaries of Jesus, their names were written in Hebrew and thus stuck closer to the Joshua translation once their names were converted into English.
I don't even know if I should watch this video. They straight up lying, dog. They straight up lying, dog. Or they just don't know. They just don't know. Like, she said it's because they couldn't pronounce Yeshua that they said Jesus or Jesus. And we talking about Rome. Rome where who was located there? The Roman mythology is located there, right? With the Roman gods. Who was the main Roman god who you see play as the character of God, or they give him the role of who people call God, which is really Yah, who people give him the role of that in movies and cartoons? Zeus. People portray Zeus as God, or as people say, as God in these movies, and Hercules as who? As Jesus, and Hades as who? The devil. You feel me? Like, that's where all this came from. So you think that they just coincidentally named him Jesus from back then? That's him. Listen, I can't go through all. That's a whole different video. But just do your research, man. They may not know. But
it took a while for the J sound to be placed in front of Jesus. It wasn't until 16th century English translations of the Bible that Jesus was spelled as Jesus. So the men named Yeshua in the Old Testament became Joshua's, and the Yeshua of the New Testament was transliterated to Jesus. And the distinction of translation versus transliteration here is key. Translation is the act of changing a word from one language to its equivalent in another language, like book in English becoming Libro in Spanish. But transliteration is the conversion of letters and sounds from one alphabet to another. For example, Greek has the letter phi, but that letter isn't a part of the alphabet in English, so it's phonetically transliterated phi. But that brings us to our third and final question. How did Christians arrive at the full title, Jesus Christ? Well,
before we get to that conclusion, how did Yeshua become the book of Joshua, but someone else who was supposed to be Yeshua become Jesus? Wouldn't they both just be Joshua? Yo.
According to an op-ed piece in Newsday written by Rabbi Mark Gelman, Hebrew naming practices don't favor last names, but rather take the form that demonstrates parental connections to a father or mother. Gelman notes, a Jewish name is your first name in Hebrew followed by a connecting word ben, which means son of, if you are male, or bat, which means daughter of, if you are female. These connecting words are followed by the first name in Hebrew of your father, and in some cases also the first name of your mother.
I just had to look at that real quick. My bad.
He goes on to write that in some cases, your place of birth or origin could also be added to the end of your name in Hebrew to help distinguish between people with the same name from different places. But in the Christian faith, Jesus is noted as the son of Mary and God, so the traditional naming of Jesus, son of Joseph, Mary's husband in the Bible, wouldn't be fitting. Instead, during his lifetime, he was known as Jesus of Nazareth, drawing the second half of his name from where he was from and not from either parent. The Christ portion of his name isn't a last name at all, but a word translated which means the Messiah or God's anointed one, who
Look up where Christ came from. The origin of that word is Christios or Christos. Look up where that word came from. Do your Googles, B?
prophesied and foretold about in the Jewish faith. So Christ in this case functions more like a title, as in Jesus the Anointed One or Jesus the Messiah, rather than as a last name. So how does it all add up? In the case of the name Joshua, the name went directly from Hebrew to English. But in the case of the name Jesus, it traveled a more winding linguistic trajectory from Greek spellings to English. And it probably is because contemporary English naming practices follow a strict form of first name then last name, like
But yet, Joshua goes to Yeshua, or Yeshua went to Joshua.
Danielle Bainbridge or John Doe, that a lot of us who speak English get a bit mixed up by thinking Christ is a last name instead of a title. So what do you think? Have anything else to add to our timeline? Drop it below. Be sure to follow Origin of Everything on YouTube and Facebook, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for all of your questions.
This is why you can't just listen to everybody. You got to do your own research. Because what if I'm wrong? You wouldn't know that. You would think she's right and I'm wrong. Or you probably think that I'm wrong. She's wrong and I'm right. I believe that I'm right, but do your own Googles, B. You may come to the conclusion that you agree with me. But I can tell you right now, I don't know what she been doing. I don't know where she been. I don't know what her passport looked like. You feel me? I've been out the country, but not like that. But like, I'm just saying, like, yo, like, throw some hyperbole in there. I don't know where her passport been. I don't know what she been doing. Where she got her information from? But at this point, I wouldn't trust her with multiplication. At this point, I wouldn't trust her telling me what 16 times 13 is. I would need to grab me a calculator because I don't know what she's talking about. I don't know that off my head, so I have to grab a calculator. She might lead me down to
questions and comments from our episode on the etymology of the word gay. Here's what some of you had to say. 359.
Stop it. We're done with that video. All right, so yeah. It's the wildest I've ever seen, bruh. Dude. Dude, what? All I got to say is listen, do your Googles, B. Nothing more, nothing less. Take these notes, pause this video if you have to, screenshot, whatever you gotta do, and do your own Googles. Cause she wildin'. With that being said, man, y'all be easy, y'all be blessed, man. Barak. I think that's how you say blessed. I'm learning Hebrew more and more. I'm learning the words, like actual language, like the alphabet and the words, and like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna move on to sentences, but for right now I just know names and like what letters what in there and what to say, you feel me? But dude. Hey, y'all be easy. I'll catch y'all on the next one, dude.